Welcome to episode 60 of the Chalk Dinosaur podcast. Today is a special episode because I'll be joined by special guest, Tim Zahren. Tim grew up in the neighborhood, and he was a friend of my brother Nick and I's for a long time. And he was one of the earliest adopters of Chalk Dinosaur. He's been listening since the first album in 2009 and has, been a friend and listener throughout all the years and albums and member changes and iterations of Chalk Dinosaur since then. So he's got a very deep knowledge of Chalk Dinosaur, and he also has a background in broadcast. So he's here to leverage his perspective to stimulate discourse and bring his perspective as a listener on the outside to, ask questions that he has and that, other people might have. So, hope you enjoyed the episode, and thank you for listening.
And that's the OG one, right? The Prodigy?
That's not mine. Somebody let me borrow that. Tom Hooven, and it's like a 1981 synth, which is sweet.
Yeah, that thing's lovely.
And it's great. He let me borrow it, and I've tried to reach out to return it many times, and
it just sounds better with you, John. Keep it.
He's just I'm not using it.
Yeah.
You could just hold on to it.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of like my Blues Junior amp.
Yeah, just somebody was like, hey, man, you're going to use it. Best of luck to you.
Yes, except somebody else is using it and it's mine, but I'm as
yeah,
long as I know where it is and I could get it if I wanted, I'm I don't need it back.
Yeah, well, similar to an hour ago, kind of like the golf clubs. Those will be your, that'll be my Blues Junior amp to you.
I'll hold on to them and you know where they are.
Yeah. But, I mean, more than anything, like I said, what I had asked you earlier, the question that is, always comes up is when, I'll talk to my friends or somebody in general about, Chalk Dinosaur, and they ask me, that's awesome. They're all over YouTube. That's great. Or Spotify. What kind of music? And that's where I just absolutely blank. And I'm because you guys literally stretch all genres out there pretty much.
Yeah, I pretty much blank on that question too.
I truly feel I said, I think the My Morning Jacket Daft Punk is as close as I can get, because I could say Tame Impala, things of that nature, but then also to the other point, Chalk Dinosaur, I feel means so many different things for so many people, where there's the 2014 to 2017, just strictly kind of you type of stuff with Nick, contributing where he could and here and there, or even the collaboration you would have from people from Farm Jam and whatnot. And then the newer stuff is a lot more jam band, obviously. And you have a huge following in that regards too. So
yeah, it's almost like when someone asks me that, I'm how much time, how much of an answer?
Yeah.
or I'll ask them if I know they're into the jam band type of stuff, then I'll recommend Sprout, Spectrum, Stuck in Between. But if they're into more of I don't know, more electronic stuff, I'll recommend
it's kind of
different
funny.
albums.
You're well, let me answer your question by asking you a question,
yeah.
Sir. What do you enjoy?
Or I'll try to explain that it's some of the albums are more jammy, some of the albums are psych rock, and some of the albums are straight electronic music. But if it's somebody that's I don't know, if it's in a context of a live music goer that's interested in seeing us, that's a little easier. I'm it's live electronic disco funk.
Yeah.
Is
live electronic disco funk. All right, I can mentally store that. I think that works. I think that's a really good, that kind of thing that covers basically all bases of what you guys are
Disco,
essentially
funk, and
doing?
dance. Yeah, it's a really hard question to ask. Even like just from album to album, it's like I don't know. I think I before had just kind of given up on that and just called it eclectic.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, you really like, and then what's cool is too, you're never like pigeonholed into any sort of genre, any sort of like, pre-existing notion of what Chalk Dinosaur is and might be, and you're always evolving, as you know, with like, you and Nick being the duo and the ensemble too. So it's kind of cool that it has like its different little life forms as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to, and have tried
the
in the
amoeba
past.
that is Chalk Dinosaur that's constantly
Blobbing.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man of music of Pittsburgh.
Trying to keep it that way, and like have put out stuff just to, try to keep people from thinking that it's just one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't feel constrained by it having to be a certain thing.
Yeah, and the tour is winding down for 2025, right? Got
One more show in Indiana, in Whitestown, at a brewery.
Nice.
Called Moontown Brewery, which is a place they're trying to really emphasize their music side. So they put a lot into their venue and the artists they get.
Yeah.
And that'll be the last show of the year, and then all the focus will go to the album, the next ensemble album featuring Nick and Michael and John, and then a few other albums that I've been kind of piecing together over the years, but just haven't really had the time to dedicate to finish them recently. So
yeah,
finish a bunch.
What's the difference with the ensemble recording and like production as opposed to just you doing it on your own?
The ensemble, we go to a studio.
Okay.
And we record most of it together, like in live takes. Versus when I record albums by myself, or like with Electric Biscuit, when it was just me and Nick, we recorded more in layers, like at my house.
Yeah.
Which is where we are.
But like, so having said that, do you guys like maybe meet up 4 or 5 times, like jam, like record kind of like, do you just like, I have an, like, who does Burger come in with an idea? Does Nick come in with like, hey, I have this drum beat that like is going to work?
Yeah, it's kind of different for each one. Like Sprout was, a lot of it was based on jams. Like we would record our jams, come up with ideas, and try to like extrapolate those into songs. Spectrum was similarly the same, but also some more like outside ideas that were a little more fully formed. And Stuck in Between, it's kind of like changed as the amount of time we have available to like play together has changed. So for this album that we're about to record, it's been like a few songs from Michael, like song ideas, a few from John, a few from Nick, and a few from me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it'll be like either like a fragment of a song or a part, like an A part and a B part, and then it's my job to kind of structure that into like, here's a complete skeleton of a song using your ideas and some of mine. And then everybody kind of like has been learning that and then playing it, modifying their parts however they want.
Yeah.
And then we'll go in and record it, and I feel like it'll, evolve again just from the fact of all of us going in and playing it together.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a couple practices. We've had 2 so far, working on the new, just being able to try to like get through the songs enough that we could go to studio and at least get like the drums, the bass, and like rhythm guitar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we might, overdub solos and definitely vocals, but we'll try to get as much as we can in one take. So yeah, a little bit from everybody in this upcoming album.
Does it ever get to a point where like you have like kind of just like, you know, just a better setup almost at the studio. Are you looking for like perfection when you're there? Or are you still like at that point where like, I'm just looking for really perfected recordings and then I can still like splice together? And then do you guys like, is it ever get to the point where like, obviously all four of you work together and it just like, it organically takes over? Are there ever times that like you take those recordings, put it together, and then you create the song from there, where now you're learning those parts off of what you've organized, if that makes sense?
Let me start with the first part. Looking for just like as good of a recording, raw recording as we can get, and go into a studio. The Vault in Pittsburgh, it's on Neville Island. You should come whenever if you're available.
I guess I just mean like, are you nervous at all that like, okay, we got the studio now, like, because here like the world's your oyster essentially. You can do whatever you want. There, is it like,
it's a deadline.
That's what I mean. Like,
we're trying to treat it as like a show. Like, be ready to the point that you would be for a show. But yeah, that's just the beginning, getting the raw recording. Like with Stuck in Between, we recorded in November. And then the album wasn't done it didn't come out till April. Yeah. So it wasn't done till like midway through March. So a couple more months of like producing and like maybe some layering. And it's the kind of thing where like, you know, if we don't nail it in the studio, that's okay. Yeah. Like we would be able to still make something out of it. It will be better if we do, but, and we're trying to prepare to do that. But, you know, if we have to record some stuff here, that's fine. The hardest thing to get here is the drums. Yeah. 'Cause the room's smaller. I don't have a 1970s Neve console here. Which they do at the Vault. So that's like the hardest thing to get with a home recording, is like a really good drum sound.
But as long as like to your point, so that, I think that clarifies, like, go in there with like the best, like you're going to a live show and you're going to try to nail as much as you can. Yeah. But knowing that like you can fix it on the back end and things like that. And it's interesting to see like how just your brain works and how like you can create music in both different atmospheres and things like that.
It's a lot more work on the front end when you go, like when we're going to a studio, like we need to be practicing and like be prepared ahead of time. But in return, it makes like all the mixing and like editing and stuff way faster and easier if we can do 3 or 4 takes of a song and have enough there to make the album version. Yeah. Versus when we record at home and it's like, we're still exploring ideas and we don't have to necessarily get them right in a certain number of takes. So it becomes like a huge amount of data to sift through and like decisions you have to make after the fact, which is like, it's a better like division of time and labor if we're all working on our parts and stuff, and then we come in and we have it pretty fully formed. Yeah.
Now, when did you kind of make like the jump from kind of controlling all of the mixing production side of things, and like how much have you like relinquished, or is it just you're using the Vault, or are there other people now that you're like, I'll let you kind of operate on this?
Yeah, well, I've definitely given like the recording and like the engineering of the session, like the recording part, over to the Vault, because it just works out a lot better if somebody else is doing that, and we're using their facility for like a full band thing. I'm definitely still doing the mixing, which is where like a huge part of the shaping of the sound comes in. So definitely controlling that, and then the mastering. There's a person I like, Nicky Howard in England, who I found a long time ago, who just had like good rates, and he was really good, and like he has a really sweet studio. I've never had to get any revisions from him. So after I've been working on an album it just gets harder and harder the longer you've listened to it.
Yeah.
And like, it's just,
because I know you've talked about that in the past, and like, not even if it's like an interview or like, I feel like you probably may have done it on another podcast. Actually, I remember the video game that you were writing music for. I think it was like the Star
Blazer.
Yeah, Star Blazer. In one of the tracks, it was like you in a voiceover talking about like perfection and things like that. So this is really obscure.
Oh yeah, No Night Lasts Forever.
I think it's cool that like the overall messaging is be like, you just got to put it out. Like, so how much effort do you still like, I want it to be perfect and I want to be this and that, but I gotta put it out, or else I'll just sit here and, try to master it and mix it forever.
Yeah, that's a huge like challenge, I think, for anybody that like makes music, is when can you let it go? Mm-hmm. And thankfully, I feel like I can usually determine when I'm like, all right, I'm not making any progress. This isn't, this would just be better in somebody else's hands for like the final mastering step. Yeah. But pretty much like, if I can just get it to a point where when I listen to it, nothing like sticks out to me that bothers me, then I know it's done.
Yeah.
Once I can get through it and be like, the guitar is like too shrill there, or like, that vocal performance bothers me or something. Once I can get it to that point, then I'm ready to, share it.
Yeah. And then we've talked about this before, like how much more fun is it for you, or not like how much fun is it for you when you get to record like just kind of the anonymous music that you get to make, like the different tracks where there's no pressure on you essentially
for TV.
Yeah, for the TV and film and stuff like that.
That is, I definitely like appreciate that a lot, because I can just make a track, and because I'm not personally like, it's not tied to like my artistic body of work. It's a lot easier to make decisions. So, and it's a lot easier to finish. It's like lower stakes feeling. And then I finish it and I never have to think about it again. I don't have to know how to play it. I don't have to recreate it live. It's just there, and it will generate money.
Yeah.
For me. So it's like, but I get the satisfaction of like exercising the creative.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about like those small victories of like beginning, middle, end of a task. Like you're getting to complete these small goals.
Yeah.
That are going to like build upon when you're like making like either it's the Chalk Dinosaur duo or ensemble or just something like solo that you're working on. It's like, okay, like I do this all day, every day. Now I just have to do a little bit bigger of a scale.
Yeah. It's great practice for just finishing stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, you got to finish it. And the faster you finish it, the more, you're getting paid for your time based on, how efficient can you be. Mm-hmm. It's way harder with Chalk Dinosaur to finish stuff, but it's definitely a great practice to have done that, 1,500 times at this point. Like just creating a piece of music that is complete.
And do you feel it's helped your like musical ear, like having to be like, hey, I need something that sounds like Ed Sheeran, sounds like Justin Bieber, which is like, if you're living in Chalk Dinosaur world, like, 24/7, and then someone's tasking you with this, it's like, oh, I got to tap into like a whole nother like psyche. 'Cause it's like, this is music for, when you're thinking about Chalk Dinosaur, you are inevitably going to think about like, oh, what do my fans usually like? Like, what are the most people receptive to? When it's like, or obviously making music for everybody, but when it's someone's tasking you, hey, this specific sound, are you like excited by that task? Is it like, has it been overwhelming, daunting, or do you feel like, oh, this is just cool to try something new?
It's definitely cool to try new things in like a framework where I'm not making it for me, I'm making it for someone else. So I'm not personally connected to like what I think of the genre, or like the music doesn't matter. I'm just trying to make it to their liking, which is completely different than writing stuff for Chalk Dinosaur, which is like an expression of like, what do I like and what's interesting to me. And I try not to get to think much about what are other people going to like, just because that's a pretty slippery slope. And I think Rick Rubin had a good quote on that about not being concerned with what other people are going to think, just trying to make something that pleases you.
Like. Yeah.
And in doing that, you're doing the best possible thing you could be doing for the listeners, is just an authentic, expression of like what you find interesting and what excites you, which is like what gives you your own, sound and stuff.
Yeah, that's a very cool take on it, because it's just like that's the way that you're perceiving things. And if it's like you have the skill to like put out this music, it's just like, well, then other people want to hear it. So it's like you do need to be that voice. It's kind of like, hey, like for better or for worse, this is what's going on in my thinking. This is what I kind of want to express to you guys.
I think that's what draws people to an artist, is like them doing what they're interested in. And once they start trying to cater to trends or like what's popular, then it kind of loses that. And then it also gets like less fulfilling as an artist.
And I mean, guess in like, kind of like a deep dive, like you've always kind of done some like kind of funky shit with like Dodger and Popper was a real like curveball on that album, I'd say. Like that really came out of nowhere for the most part, but it works. And it's just like there are elements to it that like to get this new, like a different sound, it had to start this way to get to that. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, like you can just hear what I was into. I was into like, I think that's when I started getting into like bands like Lotus, and was also really heavy into Ween. Yeah, so that's like the Ween instance is like just so heavy in that.
Super like, weird, but then also like goes into like a dance groove. And I'm like, yeah, that's like a combination of some weird combination of influences with that. Talk Box with the Roger Troutman mixed in.
Yeah,
there.
The Talk Box was definitely like a transition that you moved into that was one of the better transitions that I'll say, like from a musical standpoint. Fantastic idea.
Not a lot of people do it.
Well, do you feel like also because it was cool, like because you and me have such a different like view of Chalk Dinosaur, like, and I can say this because like I was with you when we were at these weird shows when no one showed up.
Yeah.
And it can be overwhelming, and especially with like the Talk Box was like kind of a nice buffer to be like, oh, I can kind of like sing and like still, but like I don't have to worry about like I'm just playing music and getting people to dance, and then adding like a little bit of like voice and melody behind it and stuff like that too.
Yeah, Talk Box is great because you can play it on the keyboard. It's like, if I could learn Mariah Carey like runs on like a keyboard. It's it has a different sound than singing, but I think more people don't do it because it's really awkward. Like it's hard to make it sound like singing.
Yeah,
because you have a tube in your mouth, so it sounds like.
Or is it just like it takes practice, and most people don't want to do it?
I think it's
Could your average bear figure it out with enough musical knowledge?
It definitely takes a little bit of practice and it's like not the most pleasant instrument to practice. And so I think that's the hold up. It's not like as comfortable as sitting down at a keyboard.
Yeah. Speaking of practice, do you still ever like do any drills or anything like that?
Drills? No.
Like any like sort of or is like you're jamming just kind of like you're going out and
I mean, yeah, with the shows, like if we're playing shows like we have been the last few years, it's pretty much just like we have enough time to practice for exactly what we're going to do. And outside of that, like with trying to do the TV music and trying to write music, and also just like, regular home domestic responsibilities to your house and stuff. It's just, I haven't been able to find a time to really dive into an instrument.
Yeah.
Although, before we were playing shows, the recording's really where I get the practice because you're drilling something a bunch of times to try to get to try to be able to play it right, and a lot of times it's like a little harder than what you can do.
Yeah.
So you gotta, spend hours just playing.
Yeah, and I guess from my perspective, it's just like I'm not like at a musician level where it's just like I like to play instruments, but I'm gonna probably try to learn somebody else's music. So for me, like that's me getting better. Now it's like, when do you feel this shift happens? Like for you that like, well, you're just trying to make your own music and you're not worrying about like, oh, I got to make like a crazy guitar solo or anything like that. Cause you gotta like, does that make sense? Like I'm still in like the tab world of like, oh, well, I would like to like maybe learn this song or this and that. You're like, well, I'm just going to like, whatever's coming out of me is going to be like the tab that someone's looking up.
It's kind of I've always preferred to just make stuff up than like I've never been like a song learner type. From the beginning, like we never played a lot of covers. We still I don't know how to play a lot of songs. So if I were to some players they just know a bunch of songs and they love to learn songs and like transcribe solos, and I've just never been like good or into that as much. And I know you also could make up stuff, like enough guitar to put a chord progression together, and to play a melody. So it's kind of like some people learn through learning songs, and it's a great way to learn. Like I always do learn stuff when I do that. I just like don't enjoy it as much.
I think I got more joy like over the like my musical journey, whether it's like listening or playing instruments, is like listening for me was like the most important thing. I've always felt like you have to listen to so much stuff, and then it kind of shows you that like how simplistic certain things can be so important.
I think listening a lot of people, I think they'd say that's the most important, just being aware of what you're hearing and like because if you can hear it, you can play it usually. I mean, unless it's Joe Satriani or something.
That stuff is just like a whole nother breed of good that I can't even like wrap my head around.
The good thing is, you don't have to be that skilled to make a powerful song. I think recording, like once you can start stacking ideas, like it's hard to do that when it's just you and a guitar, but if you can record yourself playing a chord progression and then you can add stuff to it, that's really what made it a lot more fun for me. Even with like a looping pedal, that like makes guitar so much more fun.
So like for all the like the what have we dubbed a nickname for like the Chalk Dino heads, or those like have we dubbed any name for like the fans?
No, I forget what it's called right now. They're the Facebook fan group. Yeah,
shout out to them. They have been wildly entertaining and incredible. Their insight on knowledge is like, and the fact that one time I asked you, somehow it got released. This guy had it broken down to the minute, to the second, and the chord progression. I was like, that's some level of like OCD I've never seen before.
Yeah, that's great. Shout out to Anthony, who's a guy in Ohio, one of our first like friends we met going to other cities, and he like set that up. Like made the page. Yeah.
And that's what's actually like the coolest thing about like going to a show now is like we said, like back in the day when like there wasn't too many people or like we didn't know anybody, it was like, but when you would catch like a new listener and you just see someone losing their mind dancing. And now it's like so cool that like if I go to a show, like whenever you come home to Thunderbird, I can't even get near the stage, dude. It's insane.
The last show was that was nuts.
That's just like a whole level of like cool to like kind of see over the years and stuff like that.
That is cool. Yeah. I mean, 10 years since, V2.
Yeah.
Or like the reboot. That's, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely still the shows in other places where it's like uncomfortably vacant. You're like, wow.
And kind of funny, we were talking about this previously. We're kind of in this weird era where like, due to, streaming, like it kind of started with like Bandcamp, SoundCloud. There's so much music pre Spotify and Apple Music that like people are seeing you for the first time in 2025, going to 2026. They're going to see you guys and be like, this new band, Chalk Dinosaur.
Yeah. Never
like
heard
that
of them.
Instagram account, like Fish on Film or whatever. Oh, up and coming artist Chalk Dinosaur. What the hell? You guys have been doing this since like I was in college and stuff like that. So it's just like, it's got to be kind of fun for you to hear like new artist or, brand new or anything like that. And it's like, listen to Follow Me from back in like 2011 almost. Like,
Yeah,
that's how far back, or 2009, Across the Moon.
Yeah. It's cool to. There have been people where they hear about us because of Spotify or because of a show, and then they're the type of person that like investigates more, and they see all like how far it goes back, and they listen to all of them. Like I've met some people in other places that got super like dove in all the way and listened to everything, and that's cool to hear that somebody might hear it for the first time, and then they have that whole body of work to kind of dive into.
Yeah. And then like what's also cool is like you guys can always keep evolving, because like at that point, if somebody's going to come up and say in 2025 that they just saw you as playing this style of music, in 2027 you guys could be completely onto something new. You guys could be in suits playing like Beatles doo-wop music in 5 years from now.
I definitely do want to do like a retro EP, like an easy listening.
Yeah, wouldn't be
/
bad.
another one of those like Crystal Coast type of things.
I mean, the world's your oyster.
Surfy.
Yeah.
Vintage production.
So you have the Ensemble and Chalk Dino album coming out, and then album, the tour. How packed is that next year?
Next year we are probably just doing festivals and no club touring. So a lot more focus on finishing this Ensemble album that we're recording in December. And then
will it be more festivals though than previously, since you're doing less like club shows?
Depends on what kind of, it all depends on what we get offered.
Yeah.
But definitely shifting the focus back to the creative side, which definitely takes a back seat with the playing. It's just like been pretty impossible for me to kind of do both of those at the same time at like a high level.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of album, like I've got a whole bunch of music from like 2020 and on that is just unfinished that I like, that I really want to get some of that out. And so that's kind of focus for me in 2026 is, we'll do festivals and then just trying to get more music out.
Yeah. And knowing you, like with everything you have recorded, do you ever like stumble upon like a random recording from like November 21st of like 2021? You're like, oh no, like this idea is too perfect. Now I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. Or do you welcome that?
Happened yesterday.
Do you welcome that inspiration then?
I do. That's why I want the extra time this year so I can explore that stuff and finish that stuff. Because there's a lot of unfinished business in like the, album world that's just been kind of building up as we've been playing more. But yeah, that literally happened yesterday. I was like putting together, I have like a bunch of like funk based ideas, kind of like organic funk sounding stuff. So I'm like kind of putting all those ideas into a folder and like searching around for those, and I found one that I didn't even have on my radar that I really liked, and then I started recording on that yesterday and wrote some words and added some bass. But yeah, definitely wasn't in the plan to work on that idea.
well, no pun intended, but you fell down a rabbit hole. So.
Yeah. Yeah, going back in the hard drive is risky if you have any kind of agenda for the day. It gets hijacked. But I like to have the time and space to allow myself to get, sucked into those tangents that could lead to new music.
And then, so we were also laughing earlier, what's a little insight to your 9 to 5? So how do you fill your days essentially? Because we were laughing about I was explaining to you, John, that people like to watch people talk on YouTube for a living. So
their jobs.
Eventually, people might just be tuning in just to see us shoot the shit aimlessly.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I hadn't considered because I have never worked in an office.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that people watch YouTube while they're working at their jobs. Some people. But, I mean, most of my days are on a computer. If we're in a month like last month, like October, when we were playing a lot and we had a lot of traveling and stuff, a lot of that time is administrative stuff, staying on top of promotion for the shows and video content and social media content and preparing the set for whatever shows we have, and then trying to arrange video and audio recording of certain shows and editing that stuff, just all this random that accounting, so many random things.
Which is kind of a cool insight. I feel like people don't always know that. Especially what's cool at your guys' level, you're wearing so many different hats and you're spinning so many plates all at once. It's not just talk to that person, they'll handle it. It's to an extent, you gotta basically be, majority of doing pretty much everything.
Yes. Yeah. Which is, it's the part that I don't like is that there's not a lot of space and time left to write music, because it's usually just preparing music for shows or processing content or stuff like that. But we have been able to delegate the booking side of things, booking and management. So part of that is somebody else is just completely handling that, which is nice. But I mean, it's cool that you can do it and you can be an independent artist and do that with the internet,
Yeah, because like you said, I think it's so cool that you found that guy in England that's able to do the production for you and nail it, and
the mastering.
May never see this guy,
yeah,
but it's out there, and it's just that. It's kind of so many ways to get your art out there or to help produce with other people, collaborate. There's really kind of no stopping you at this point.
There's a new remix that I just released with a band from Chicago called Hot Like Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never met them, but they're also in the same scene, and I've just seen their name a bunch, and I followed them on Instagram. And so, yeah, that's one instance of purely internet connection, and it turned into a new piece of music.
And just curious, when someone reaches out to you and they're like, hey, can you mix this for me? What does that mean to you? Are you then thinking to yourself okay, I have a certain sound that I think, or I think other people think I have, so I'm gonna put that little.
Yeah, it depends. So the Hot Like Mars thing, that was a remix. So I was basically just taking a song that they had already made and framing it or reimagining it into a different thing. But I do also do just mixing. Someone will send me raw tracks from a recording session, and I just did that for the Deep Casual, which is a band from Pittsburgh. You remember Shaq Nicholson?
Yeah.
One of the guitar players, Steve Lipe, started this, or I don't know if he started it or if he joined it, but he plays in the Deep Casual, which is a 3-piece, and they got me to mix their album, and Usually, like, when it's a local thing, which is, I guess that's everything. Like, Stone Throwers also had me mix some of their music.
Yeah.
Another Pittsburgh band. Usually those people are people that I've known, and they know me, and they've heard my music, and they, reached out to me to mix their thing because they like the way the Chalk Dinosaur stuff sounds. So usually it's like, just do the usual how I would treat it if it was my own song, and then show it to them, and then they can advise on, like, certain things that they want changed about it.
Yeah.
Like, do a couple rounds of revisions.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if you ever get any negative reviews. Like, sounds flat, John.
From mixing? I mean, there's always, like, tweaks and stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I haven't had a thing where someone's, like, pulling the plug. They're like, you're not the right guy for the job.
You're still doing
just
good
not
work.
hitting it.
Yeah. Well, good news for that. Yeah, I mean, that's cool that you guys are, like, really, like, on your way and doing your thing. I mean, but to your point, like, it's been, like, 10 plus years of grinding, going to the small shows, doing this and that. Is there any particular reason that you don't want to, like, do the small clubs or anything anymore? Or you just, like...
Oh, for this upcoming year when I said we're doing festivals?
Was there any particular, like, do you not enjoy, like, the small shows as much, or...
Oh, no, some of those are big shows.
Yeah.
But it's just the time consumption, all the travel.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, with all the stuff that you do.
It's just the fact that I can't work on... It takes away too much from the actual making music part, which is, like, my favorite part, and the part that really gives me the most joy and fulfillment is, like, being here, getting into, like, a song that I'm excited about that's new. And they're just, like, hasn't been, it really takes all of me to do the touring and the show stuff, and I'm solely focused on, trying to do that. And, if I don't work on original music, there's no consequence for that. But, if you've got shows lined up, those shows are coming regardless of if you're ready or not, and, you're going to have to face an audience of people that are there to see you play, and you got to be ready. So I got to focus on that whenever we have stuff on the schedule.
Well, I mean, good on you for, like, setting boundaries and knowing, like, what you need to do to, like, be successful and maximize your capabilities and stuff like that. Like, it's good to, like, being like, hey, I need this space to be, like, to be able to do what I want to do, and ultimately, which is to be, like, making new music. Like, and it's cool that, like, you're kind of setting these standards of, like, this is for me to, like, maintain this level of, like, quality that I'm proud of putting out. Like, I gotta, like, pump the brakes on certain things.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because we have, objectively, some good momentum, and objectively, things are going, they're building, but yeah, it's like, I think the music is the actual making of the music is the real foundation. And it's kind of like what I feel I have the most to give in that area compared to, certain bands. I feel like what they do on stage and, like, their touring presence, that's like the pinnacle of their band, or it's like what is the most, like, special about them and what they do best. And it's hard for them to capture that on a recording, and it feels the opposite for me. Like, it's hard to, I don't feel, I'm definitely make a lot of mistakes. Shows are never, like, quite as good as they're not executed as good as I wanted or something, like, with my performance. And it just feels like I have a better product to give from the studio.
Well, I can tell you, unless you have perfect pitch, most people aren't noticing their mistakes from what I've seen. But then again, like, you guys have been touring across the country quite a bit.
Yeah, there's just a lot of moments, especially with live singing, which is so hard. It's like, I'll see a clip and it's like just a cringy.
Do you think that's the most vulnerable, is the singing as opposed to, like, playing?
Yeah, that's definitely another level. Especially, I'm not, like, a good live singer. It's just like I I don't put a lot of practice into it compared to somebody. I don't know. Some people are just really gifted and they do it a lot, and it, that looks really cool whenever you see somebody that can really take control of a show with their voice.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do that on a recording, but it's like a different ball game live, and it's always a little frustrating.
You almost have to have like an alter ego when you go out there with like your voice.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
You gotta be a presence.
Put a costume on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Have you ever sang publicly?
I have once in an open mic, and that was like very daunting. And it was just like one of those like kind of like, hey, just to say I did something, like put yourself in like a scary situation.
Yeah. Right.
And then recently,
Like bungee
actually,
jumping.
I came into that situation again. I was in Chicago at a piano bar, and someone had coaxed me to go up. I think it was my sister-in-law, and I was like I was with somebody else. They were singing Mr. Brightside. Everybody, classic song, by the way. Everybody got off the stage, and I was still up there, and I was like, you know what? I'm never really going to have it. I don't get this opportunity too much. So I did do like a little rendition of like The Rainbow Connection by Kermit the Frog. And it was fantastic.
There was like someone playing the piano?
Yeah. She was like, and I was like, why are there so many songs about rainbows? And I was like, went through it, and I was like, oh man, like I was nervous as shit. But I was also like, I feel like this feeling of uncomfortable is kind of like a fight or flight. And it's like, it's better sometimes just to fight it, because like good things might happen. And like that kind of, spurred me to be like, okay, well, like, don't be so vulnerable. Like, no one was like, that guy's an idiot. And if they did, it was like, all right, whatever. I was having fun at like a party. It's not that deep. So
yeah, I think that's definitely a big piece of the puzzle, is like trying to maintain that having fun perspective, because that's always when the best stuff happens, when somebody is truly just enjoying what they're doing. And I feel like, I've seen a ton of performing and bands and just anywhere, open mics, karaoke, where if somebody's like enjoying themselves, that's like 50% of my enjoyment, like seeing them.
yeah,
I'm like, doesn't have to be the best.
it's interesting you say that, because
It just makes me feel, it like spreads what they're feeling to me a little bit.
yeah. I recently went to my brother's brother-in-law, so I guess my father's sister's brother's cousin's uncle's roommates, Spaceballs relation. They had like a choir thing. It was like for the Pittsburgh Pride Choir, and then after them was like the Mendelssohn Choir, and they're like basically like the Led Zeppelin of like choir groups. Like they come in and just like turn the house down. It's just like they're very good.
Whoa.
But nonetheless, it like kind of to your point, it was cool to see like these like the one choir that went up first. They obviously weren't like the greatest singers ever. They weren't professionally trained or anything, but just like the excitement that they had was like permeating through the audience. You're like, all right, like I can get down with, like I know this isn't like the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra or anything like that, but they're having fun. Like it just it comes across that way.
That's I mean, that's a perfect example. Like whenever, and then if you get people that are taking themselves too seriously and it's not that good, then it's like,
Yeah.
But if they're having fun and they're like truly enjoying it, it's totally different experience.
Mm-hmm.
I can get down with that for sure.
I think that's why I had no problem putting on a cowboy hat at Farm Jam and trying to pump up the crowd.
2016 Farm Jam.
Or it could have been like the hallucinogenics, but one of the other.
I think that was like the most appropriate thing you could have done.
Yeah,
at that place
had to
in that moment.
Yeah,
that was a good influence on the crowd. I think
Yeah, but I mean, it was a good. I think for me, it was a good segue into like this is what like festivals have the potential of being, and I could see how they could get a lot more intense, and they could also be a lot like more chill if you even wanted it to be like smaller than that. So that's still one of the best events, even after being to so many
big ones, small ones. But yeah, was that had you done any other kind of festival type things since then?
Honestly, no. I'm trying to think.
Just like club shows.
Yeah, pretty much the club shows. Saw you guys in DC, which was that was awesome. That was such a cool little experience with like the like a literal, like, not an open bar as in regard to drinks, but like an open bar, and the windows were completely exposed to the street. That was kind of cool.
The wharf, yeah, that was a sweet, like, little pedestrian oasis. Yeah, that was a cool spot.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm just continually working on like my unreleased EP that I've been working on for like 14 years now. So it's coming.
Where's that in its journey?
So like, to your point, kind of funny what you said. It's like, it's more important about just like recording stuff. So in process, it's on my iPhone 11. So that's where it's at right now.
A lot of ideas and like voice memos.
But it's like, okay, you have this, just put up, even if it's just like a basic, like, not even Pro Tools, but just like a free software or something like GarageBand, like learning how to operate on that, I feel like kind of shows you from a small scale of like, it's like it's teaching you the process of doing it and how to do it. And then it's like, then you go to somebody like you, it's like, all right, cool, not bad. Like, this is how it should be though. I feel like that's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like, you just got to do stuff. And it's by taking those small steps. Like, I'm sure that's how you started. You're like, this is probably so stupid. And then
Fruity
you just
Loops,
kept at it.
GarageBand. Yeah, I mean, it was just fun. And then, if you listen to some of the early stuff, it's, you can see the progression. You can hear it. It's started out pretty rudimentary. But yeah, if you start something on that and you can start experiencing what it's like to kind of like build something in layers, and then you take it to someone like me who has more experience with that, I could hear what you're going for and expand on those things.
So I think you're tasking me with, I need to like, I'm going to evolve this into a song, and when it's ready, I will then bring it to you, and we'll see what we can do with this.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be like totally, formed.
Yeah, but I think this
as much as you could do.
I think this would be a good introduction, and regardless of how bad it sounds or good it sounds, or how amazing it sounds, or life changing to the world it sounds, it will be cool to kind of see how like the production of a song just goes in general, just even if it's as elementary as possible.
We could do that on the multi-part to build a song series.
Yeah. We're spitballing a lot in the Chalk Dinosaur verse recently. Another thing I wanted to ask you is like, how do you, so it's like, do certain things like, are, because you're kind of running all of Chalk Dinosaur, like merch is another like aspect of things you have to be, are you kind of constantly going around like looking for like influence, inspiration from certain things? Like if you're at a show and you see a really cool hat, like, because I'll be honest with you, I really like enjoy like fashion, but in a sense of like tailored stuff, like materials and stuff like that. Like, I really like stuff that's really well made. So do you notice that now when you're out at shows, or are you like, that hat, like
everywhere,
what 5-panel is that?
Yeah. Anytime I'm in like any kind of like gift shop or like artist merch situation, or just have a piece of clothing I like, I'm always looking to see like what's the blend, and like who's the manufacturer, and what style is this. So
have you noticed a quality over quantity type situation? If you get better stuff, does it tend to go quicker?
Yeah, I think I've tried to not make anything that I don't like, though. Because I don't know, that's kind of the only guide.
Well, kind of like the Rick Rubin thing almost. It's just like, make what you like, and then someone else will probably like it. Yeah,
I guess, kind of, I mean, maybe if you could poll people, you could see like what do people actually want, but like I don't know. And maybe it's not as much with clothing, because like I'm not a clothing extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Or like I don't really have much of a pulse or finger on the pulse with like fashion stuff, but you know, I can see what other people are making and I can see what stuff I like and what you know, I think is better. And generally I think with everything, the more care that goes into it and the more thought goes into it, the more people respond to it.
Yeah.
Whether it's like music or like, you know, the vinyl or you know, the USB drive or the, I don't know, anything that we've released.
Yeah.
Like
no,
the-
I think, and I think that's a really good point you bring up. Like, you guys do tend to go above and beyond in regards to, like, just the fact that that particular picture of Nick on the koozie.
Oh yeah.
Like, that would, like, most,
Humor
like,
item.
that's kind of cool because that's, like, from your guys' like, personal archives to go in and, like, also make light of yourselves.
That was yeah, I think that was like a drunk, like pulled the trigger, just like saw that picture.
Yeah.
Just order it on a koozie immediately.
Fantastic.
People loved it.
Fantastic work. I think I have one as well.
It's rare. It's a rare item.
Yeah.
I have an original Funk Fries pin somewhere in here. It's the last one. It's in that yellow bowl. You remember those? Did you ever see those?
I do. The green one, I believe. There's a green chalk dinosaur one. I have a sticker. Oh yeah, I
think
remember
Adam
this.
might have made those.
Yeah.
I should have told him.
I mean, the other thing you could do from a merch standpoint is just just try to like rip off other brands until they like send you like a cease and desist order.
Yeah, I mean
I've thought about doing that all the time.
That's the thing. Like
my idea, my grand T-shirt idea for Chalk Dinosaur is to literally just take the Jurassic Park logo. Instead of Jurassic Park, it just says Chalk Dinosaur.
yeah, that amount of letters, that would probably work. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that stuff's like, I see that stuff all the time now. I just look at like brands and logos and like that writing. I'm like, oh, what kind of like font is that?
Yeah.
Just like our tour graphic on Instagram for like 2025 is based off the MARTA logo, which is the subway system in Atlanta. Because we went to Atlanta and I was looking at the MARTA, all the signs for the subway, and it's like a really pleasant font and like color scheme.
Like more so than Papyrus.
Yeah. Papyrus Comic Sans collaboration. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that is a world that's like just like another one of those things that could consume every day, all day, is just like the branding and merch design, like product design and research. Like you go as deep as you want into that stuff.
Well, I think more than anything, it's been cool to kind of learn like what goes into like not only like a day to day, but what just goes into not only like just making the music, but like Chalk Dinosaur now is like a business.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like the commerce side is huge, and it's one of those things where it's like at this level, we don't have enough like buyers to start hiring people to like take care of all that. Like at the beginning, you have to just do everything. And then I think, you know, if you get to a point where you're moving enough product, then you can start like, you know, I'm still fulfilling all the orders from here and like storing all the inventory here. Eventually you get to a point where you can have all that done by somebody else.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense if you're not selling a certain amount. But yeah, no, getting deep into that for sure over the past couple of years, like looking at other companies and like listening to podcasts of people who have started, you know, e-commerce businesses selling limited run merchandise and like really expanding on that and making like that their entire livelihood.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the drop shippings of the world.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ways to like skin a cat and make $1 nowadays too, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. I think I just like started that sentence and didn't have a thought to follow it.
I don't know. Well, I think more than anything, we've had a pretty long, lengthy discussion. I feel the people in the Facebook chat are going to be real excited about some of the answers they got from you, John.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I mean, I'll continue to work on that song. I did get my guitar recently restrung for the first time in like 6 years.
Nice.
I didn't even play it. I just looked at it, picked up, was like, I'm gonna like rip a finger in
50% rust.
Yeah, I'm gonna get like some sort of infection.
Well, that's good. Yeah, if you get something together, even if it's not complete, like I said, we got one more show and we're off for a while.
Yeah.
So I'll have time to like explore stuff.
Well,
like
I can't.
this
Unfortunately, I need someone on drums because Nick gave me a ringing endorsement one time when I was like, "Hey, man, how did it sound?" He goes, "I think you need a metronome." So yeah, we'll have to.
Oh, you did drums on something that you showed him?
No, I was just jamming with him. He was
Okay.
like, "Yeah, what'd you think?" He's like, "Yeah, might need a metronome, but it was well played."
It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
The ability to do that for sure. But also, you could get Nick or you could get me to do drums.
Yeah.
If you just have a general idea.
So also having said that, like for the viewers out there, it's also who you know, not what you know a lot of the times. So if you have an idea, like I'm sure you're the same way. Like if there's stuff that comes up to you, like, hey, I need a really good, that's probably, I mean, you got Michael involved too. You're like, hey, like Andrew's moving out. We need a bass player. Like who do I need? Who do I know?
That was perfect timing. Perfect match. But yeah, like for this Denver show we just played, I had been recording and editing all of the shows prior to that myself with like a, handful of GoPros, and for our Boulder show, which we played in February, this filmmaker who lives there offered to record it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we did that, and he brought like a small crew, and like we weren't expecting that, and he had like all this crazy gear and like put together such a sweet video that I'm like, all right, I'm done with the GoPros, and I'm just gonna like not record every show, but hire this crew or a crew
like once in a while to do it. Is that the video you guys kind of released last night, or there was like a clip?
Probably. There's probably clips from that in like an advertisement.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on YouTube. It's just a Boulder
looks high
show.
Quality. So
yeah, they had, I don't know, they're filmmakers to the core, so they do a really extensive job. So that's what we did for this last show in Denver. Just hired them to take care of the video, hired somebody to record it, like the audio, the multi-track. I still mixed it, but I didn't have to like set up my computer and like do all that stuff. But yeah, I forget what we were. Oh yeah, just getting someone else to do stuff that is their specialty is like really nice when you can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you got the, I definitely enjoy like extrapolating ideas from people. So you just let me know.
Yeah, I got you. And then I guess the only other question to ask you is, what do you think about the Steelers?
Can't believe they won. I mean, I can, but I mean that was like a do or die season moment. Were the Colts the best team?
I think they were 7-1. And then typical Tomlin trap game. They dropped one in Cincinnati.
Yeah, they rose to the challenge. And I don't know. Defense was kind of sucking, but they played well enough.
We're just gonna ride Aaron Rodgers in a ayahuasca trip into the Super Bowl.
As long as he doesn't,
as long as he's not doing it mid-season, I don't care what he does.
I mean, as long as he can stay healthy, they've demonstrated they got a shot to go all the way.
Yeah.
And if we're doing that jam cruise in February.
Oh yeah.
It'll be during the Super Bowl.
All right.
So
we may have to all right, we're gonna bookmark that. And man, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about what to expect from the cruise leading up to it and after, because that's gonna be absolutely bonkers.
Sounds like it, yeah. I've never been, so.
Yeah, good luck.
It sounds like it's a good time.
All right. Well, should we like clap it to?
All right. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right, clap.
Clap it up. Wow.
Good.
That's how they do it in the
Yeah.
movies.
I thought it was pretty good.
Well, that's it for episode 60. Thanks for listening. And depending on when you hear this, our last show of the year is next Saturday, November 15th, in Whitestown, Indiana, at Moontown Brewery. And if you haven't yet, check out the new single that was released. It's a remix. It's my remix of a song by a band called Hot Like Mars. It's called Situationship. And if you haven't heard Electric Biscuit yet, that's our most recent full length, so check that out. If you're a poster kind of person, you like posters, we got some posters on sale at chalkdinosaur.com, along with, other merch stuff. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, check it out. If you want to, get updates on stuff, sign up for the Chalk Dinosaur email list, chalkdinosaur.com. You can sign up there. And thank you all for listening, and hope you have a good day, week, night, whatever it is when you're listening. All right, see ya.